Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Railsplitter Athletics Report. We are closing in on the holidays here on the Lincoln Memorial University campus. And with that being said, the LMU men's and women's basketball teams are getting ready to make the turn in the schedule as they will prepare for their final two games before the Christmas break, at least. The Lady Railsplitters, of course, taking on the Flyers of Lewis University on Sunday at 2 o'clock in the Tex Turner Arena. The Railsplitters will take on the Tornado of King College. That'll be a 4 o'clock tip-off. And then I think on the 19th, that's Wednesday of next week, just before our holiday show, the Lady Railsplitters will play their final home game before the Christmas break. I think that's against Queens University, and that's a single game in the Tex Turner, somewhere around a 7 o'clock tip-off. The Railsplitters will be on the road when they travel down to Augusta, Georgia. They'll take on Augusta State University. Both games will be broadcast, the women on the streaming video and on local cable. The Railsplitters will be on audio only. We'll tell you all about all that and more. We're also going to be talking with Roger Hodge later on tonight on the show. Stay with us.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
Since 1973, DeRoyal has been a leader and an innovator in manufacturing products for the healthcare industry. DeRoyal supplies more than 20,000 products and product lines such as acute care, orthopedics, wound care, and trauma. DeRoyal is proud to be the largest supplier of orthopedic soft goods to clinics and hospitals in the nation. Since its start in Tazewell, Tennessee, DeRoyal has grown to open factories in over 29 locations worldwide and employs over 2,000 people. DeRoyal, a name you can trust and an employer you can count on.
Looking for efficient, compassionate, and comprehensive health care for you and your family? Visit University Medical Clinic. All providers are faculty members of LMU's DeBusk College of Osteopathic Medicine and are board certified in their specialty. Multiple specialties available including family medicine, pediatrics, OBGYN, and osteopathic manipulative medicine, with locations in Harrogate, Tazewell, and New Tazewell, and most insurance plans accepted. University Medical Clinic is here to serve you. Call 423-869-7193 for an appointment. University Medical Clinic.
And welcome back to the show. Let's get started. Last Thursday evening, the Lincoln Memorial University women's basketball team traveled to Athens, West Virginia, trying to snap a 2-game losing streak and improve their record of 4-4. LMU entered Thursday evening's non-conference matchup with the Mountain Lions of Concord University, having lost their last 2 outings to Tusculum College and most recently Newberry College, both of which were conference games and both of which were on the road. Thursday's game looked as though it might have the same end result in the early minutes as Concord took a 9-point lead by the 14:52 mark of the first half. However, that's when the Lady Railsplitters got things going. Over the next 6 minutes, the LMU women erased the Mountain Lion lead and took a 1-point advantage of their own with 8:51 remaining in the opening half of play. The Lady Railsplitters eventually took a 28-27 lead into the locker room at the break. With the second half, LMU and Concord battled back and forth for the lead until the Lady Railsplitters took the lead for good with 2:18 to play, and a short time later pulled out a 60-55 win to snap the 2-game losing skid and to improve to 5-4 on the season. This week, the Lady Railsplitters have, like all other LMU athletic teams, and student body on the LMU campus will concentrate on final exams for the fall semester 2012. Once those are over, however, Roger Hodge and his team will turn their full attention to Sunday's home matchup with non-conference opponent Lewis University. The Flyers will enter the Tex Turner Arena on Sunday with a 5-1 record, having won their last 2 outings. Tip-off for Sunday's game is set for 2 p.m. and will be streamed live over the LMU Athletics website at www.lmurailsplitters.com. And incidentally, we will be talking with Roger Hodge in the second half of tonight's show. Turning to men's basketball on Saturday afternoon, well, it wasn't a good one for the Lincoln Memorial University men's team, who fell for the ranks of the unbeaten when they traveled to Wise, Virginia, and lost to the unranked Highland Cavaliers of the University of Virginia College at Wise, 81-80 in overtime. The game marks the second time in as many outings the Railsplitters have gone into overtime against an opponent. And by coincidence, both UVA Wise and their other overtime opponent, Newberry College, both exhibit the dribble drive offense. Saturday's game with the Highland Cavaliers was an uphill struggle from the start for the Railsplitters, but looked as though conditions would ease up somewhat when the Railsplitters put on an offensive barrage the last 5 minutes of the first half and were able to take an 11-point lead into the locker room off of a last-second three-pointer by Cam Carden. From the opening possession of the second half, however, the Highland Cavaliers dominated the first 3 minutes of play. Only 2:54 into the second half of play, UVA Wise had completely erased LMU's 11-point lead and had the Railsplitters back on their heels. From that point, the Highland Cavaliers only held the lead twice throughout the remainder of regulation until tying the game at 75 with only 32 seconds to play. Neither team was able to break the stalemate over the final 32 seconds of regulation, and that pushed the game into overtime, the second time in as many games for the LMU men. Although LMU held a 2-point lead with 3:13 to play and a 1-point lead with 2:03 to go in overtime, this time it would be the opponent that prevailed as the Highland Cavaliers captured the win on a free throw by Darius Davis with 3 seconds on the clock. LMU's Tim Pierce put up a desperation three-point attempt from mid-court to win the game, but the shot fell short, and LMU fell 81-80 for the first time this season. Now 6-1 overall, the once beaten Railsplitters fell from number 11 to number 20 in this week's National Association of Basketball Coaches poll. That was released Tuesday afternoon. This Sunday, the LMU men must find a way to bounce back from Saturday's loss as they play the host to the Tornado of King College. This is in the Tex Turner Arena, and King enters Sunday's meeting with the Railsplitters as one of two unbeaten region opponents with a record of 7-0. The Tornado and LMU's December 19th opponent, Augusta State, are the NCAA Southeast Region's only two unbeaten teams. Sunday's game with King tips off at 4 o'clock, and you can guarantee that George Pitt's Tornado will come in ready to blow here through Harrogate. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk with Roger Hodge about the past week, this week's finals, and of course the upcoming week of basketball and what might be in store for the upcoming new year. Stay with us right here on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
I will help families adopt children from around the world and in our own backyard.
I am teaching ethics to the next generation of lawyers.
I will make a difference for the underserved of this region.
I will be an advocate for my clients.
As a prosecutor, I fought for those who couldn't speak for themselves.
I'm a lawyer and professor.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I will be a lawyer.
I guess we'll take Morty. Yes.
Pick last. Ouch. A vault will put you back on top. Quenches and kicks. Incoming! Yeah! You're a super soda mercenary! Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Get to it!
History comes alive at the Abraham Lincoln Library and Museum on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University in Harrogate, Tennessee. Located 60 miles north of Knoxville and 5 minutes from the entrance of Cumberland Gap National Historic Park, the museum is home of one of the largest privately held Lincoln collections in the country.
A place to learn and play. My museum includes interactive exhibits as well as special events and educational programs. For more information, go to www.lmunet.edu.
We represent the Coke brand. We would like to sue Coca-Cola Zero.
Would you say that we have a case?
For what?
For taste infringement.
We want to just sue them back to the Stone Age to send a message that they're tampering with really the flagship of the company.
It's one company. It's like you suing yourself.
Yeah.
But they're on a different part of our floor.
Da, 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 da.
This Sunday, the Lincoln Memorial University Lady Railsplitter basketball team plays the first of 2 games remaining before the upcoming Christmas break. They'll take on non-conference opponent Lewis University. That'll be a 2 o'clock tip-off in the Tex Turner Arena, and Roger Hodge and his team will enter that game at 5-4 on the year. Coach, it's been an up and downhill battle throughout the first part of the season, but when you lose some of the key players that you lost a year ago, it takes a while to build that continuity and that chemistry.
Well, not only that, but some of the players that we've expected to have at full strength for the course of this year haven't been there either. We have yet to play a game with our whole team, and we haven't had, a lot of injuries per se, but just little nagging ones where we've had a kid miss a game here, and we've never had them all together. But again, we're a young team. We're getting better every day, and that's no excuse. We've had opportunities in a couple games to turn those around into victories, and but again, it's a work in progress, and we think as the season goes on, we're going to continue to improve.
It's got to be especially frustrating for you as a coach to you go out and you get all the pieces that you think you need for the upcoming season in recruiting. You bring those pieces in. You get them started in practice, and then all of a sudden maybe this one's not eligible or this one is injured, and so then you work to get those things fixed. And I know that Haley Nelson, when you got her finally into the lineup, I know you were looking forward to that because she brings so much to the table for you at the point position, but all of a sudden we take a hit with Kalasia Green going out.
Well, and we're hoping to have Kalasia back this weekend, and ironically, Haley's missed the first couple practices this week with the little flu bug and things like that. But it's part of what we do, and you have to, other people have to step up, and you have to adapt and move on.
You've been around the coaching game for a long time, and I'm sure this isn't your first dance in terms of those type of things that happen. When you deal with that as a coach, what do you say to the team in order to get those individuals to step up? What do you do in order to bring the best game that they've got out of those individuals?
Well, and I think that you've hit on what it is that other people have to step up and fill that void. I think we approach it as a challenge and an opportunity for other people to step up their game, whether it's the person that's actually filling in for the injured or sick person, or if it's just another person on the team that can rebound more for us or defend the person that's out, or maybe take a few more shots and be more aggressive offensively. So we try to give them a chance to look at it as an opportunity for them to expand their game.
Yeah, one of the individuals that I looked at here in the last couple of games, in particular the Concord game, was Mariah Richardson. I mean, she comes in and she was almost unstoppable in the first half. I don't think she missed but maybe one shot if she missed that. Second half, they keyed on her a little bit more. I think she still wound up with 16 or so points. But my point is, when she was a freshman here several years ago, I looked at her and said, well, she'll be a role player if she plays a whole lot. But as her junior year came around, which was your first year of play, she really, whether it was partly something that you did or whether it was just her, something clicking in her mind, she really started to step up her game, and she's become a great contributor to your team.
Well, and even when we got here, and to be very honest, and we've indicated this with Mariah individually, she probably, when we first got here, was not in the rotation, and she earned her way into it and played her way into it, and went from a kid that that wasn't going to play a whole lot, if at all, to somebody now who is arguably our best offensive weapon, and that's to her credit, to her effort and patience in learning the system and improving her game, and I'm very proud of what she's been able to accomplish. Being a senior,
that's the kind of things that coaches expect from their senior players, their leaders, and so forth. When you talk about leaders on this team, we took such a hit with Lauren Cochran and Daisha Solomon graduating last year. Amberly Odell going out early. Those were some of the leaders on this team. If you had to pinpoint who was your vocal and your physical leader on the floor right now, is there one at this point?
I think Miranda Bodie would have to be the one I would describe that way. Although she's not, probably from a loud vocal standpoint, you don't see a lot of emotion from her on the floor normally, but she is constantly in her teammates' ears because she's that kid that not only knows what she's supposed to do, but knows what everybody else is supposed to do, and is more of a calming influence and example to those young kids. And the personality of this team has not been so much vocal, but I would say I've been very happy with Miranda Bodie's progress kind of into that role.
In the past few years, we've noticed that the parity throughout the South Atlantic Conference was just incredible. I mean, any team could knock anybody off at any given night. That being said, this year you start out at 0-2. I know that's not the way you wanted to start out. Obviously, Tusculum is a cross-state rival that has really improved their game in women's basketball over the last few years. Newberry, always a tough game on the road. But, even with that, the game got away from us a little bit at Tusculum. But we've been in a lot of games, and I've mentioned this a number of times. I know you're probably tired of hearing it. But it seems like this team is just a player or a shade away from being able to get over the hump and being right up there with the conference elite.
Well, and I think there's no question about that. And we don't make excuses for losses. And, we want to win them all. We played maybe what will be the best two teams in our league on the road early in the season. And those were big challenges for a young team. But I think you've hit on it. The way that women's basketball works and basketball in the NCAA is being a tournament sport. It's not about where you are right now. It's about how you progress during the course of the year. So I think our kids have that mindset of going out every day and trying to make themselves a better basketball team. And as we progress through that daily, I'm hopeful that in the spring that we'll be a team that will be able to compete with anybody in the league.
From a bystander standpoint, the games that I've seen, when we're in the game, I see it being attributed to our defensive pressure because a lot of our offense is sparked from that. There are times we have a hard time scoring. But defensively, we get after the basketball, and I like seeing that effort because defense is pride and heart.
Well, and we have fought pretty good on the defensive end. It hasn't always been perfect from an execution standpoint, but at times it's been pretty good because we are more athletic and a little more energetic and, kind of a reverse from last year where we were very potent scoring but struggled on the defensive end at times. So, we're trying to find that happy medium, obviously, but if our defense can continue to play and continue to improve, I think the offense is going to get better, which should give us a chance in a lot of ball games.
Lewis University, a team that comes in at 5-1, and they are a team. I think they lost an exhibition to SIU Edwardsville. We were talking about that earlier, but since that time they've only lost one outing. For me, a team like Lewis gives me that fear of the unknown because I'm not used to seeing them play. So when I see the 5-1 record, it's a little intimidating. What have we seen from them on game film that we're going to have to concentrate on Sunday's game?
Well, I think they leave very little margin for error. They are a team that is outstanding from the execution phase of the game on both ends. They have a system in place, and they run it very well. And I guess I would say it this way, from our standpoint, we can't make the mistakes in bunches that we have at times during the course of this year because they make you pay when you make a mistake. I mean, if you turn the ball over on the perimeter, it's 2 points the other way because they execute so well in transition. Defensively, they are always in position. They always box out. So if you're not setting a good screen, if you're not going to the offensive boards, if you're not giving yourself those opportunities, it's a struggle against a team like Lewis.
Okay, we've concentrated on Lewis. Now LMU, what things that have they done lately that they need to do better? What things have they done well that they need to pick up a little bit?
Well, I think the first thing, if you're talking about the offensive end, we've struggled shooting the ball. But the other part of that is we have so many unforced turnovers. And granted that we play a little higher tempo, higher possession type of game, we can't just throw the ball away at different times. Like, I was watching some of the footage as we were talking, and we've got a post feed and the girl's wide open in the post, and we short hop it out of bounds. And those unforced type turnovers are things that we're trying to get past. And then the mental gaffes, just in terms of not knowing where to go and what to do, and having those multiple gaps at inopportune times. And again, I know it is part of the growth process, but that's the things that we've kind of been focused on during the couple of days this week that we've had.
You mentioned Kalasia Green earlier, and the injury she sustained a couple of games ago. What's her status right now, and what's the realistic chances that she'll be back on Sunday or even Wednesday in the Queens game?
Well, we expect her to play Sunday. She's had 2 very good practices this week and has shown no ill effects from the knee, so we're expecting her to be ready to play on Sunday.
Now, I know you as a coach, when you hear of one of your players contracting the flu or whatever, I mean, obviously that's got to be a nightmare because a lot of times that runs through the team. Haley Nelson is an individual who, when I saw her in her first minutes on the floor, She was trying to get acclimated to the game with her teammates and so forth. But the second time she hit the floor in the next game, she really stepped it up a level, and she brought a lot to the table for this team.
Well, and she's still not hit her stride. I mean, we threw her in there pretty quick, just in terms of we knew we had to play her into shape a little bit because she had not been at the first practice. So she's still not, from a conditioning standpoint, ready to go. And if you noticed in the Concord game, she'd play 3 minutes, we'd have to take her out. And a lot of times that was her asking to come out. So I'm hoping that as we continue to play, that she'll play her way into shape a little bit. And I'm anxious to see what she's going to be like when she's 100%.
What do you think the ceiling for this team is with all the pieces in place, all the pieces healthy?
Well, obviously that's hard to say, and I'm not one that is going to, predict levels of success in terms of, setting our team up or even from an arrogant standpoint. But if we can get everybody out there that's supposed to be out there and we continue to work the way we've worked, I am excited about the possibilities of what we can do.
All right, let's go back to the week, this past week. Obviously, final exams are a big part of every student-athlete's life on campus and collegiate career. You're not eligible, you don't play. That being said, all your kids have been involved with the final exams for fall semester 2012 this week. What's that gone like for you?
Well, and obviously we've been happy with the reports that we've gotten back, but we list priorities on our team as God, family, academics, then our team, then everything else. And so we've given them a few days off so that they can focus and concentrate and study. And, I think we've got the type of kids who take advantage of that time, and hopefully that will turn out well for them.
All right, now we'll be talking to you again, obviously, before the Queens game. I think Adam Haley will be doing the pregame for that as he'll have the call for that game. But you got a big, long holiday break coming up. I know that you will resume play, I think, on the 30th, if I'm not mistaken. Nonetheless, it's a pretty good break. And from a coaching standpoint, at this point in the season, you almost hate to do that because you've gotten things to a certain point and then they slack off a little bit, and then you got to pick them up and reinforce them again.
Well, and fortunately for us, the NCAA rule, we're right up against it on one end in terms of being able to play as late as possible, and then we can't bring them back till the 27th, which is the time that we will bring them back. So everybody kind of goes through the same thing. But you're right. I mean, you kind of have a build up. You feel like you're moving in a certain direction, then you have to take some time off. But that's part of it. Our kids will have to adjust to it, and hopefully they won't eat too many peanut butter balls and come back in some semblance of shape.
We'll have you, I'm sure, probably on our holiday special that we focused on for the Rojo shopping spree, but this will be the last time I get to talk to you in terms of this show before the upcoming Christmas break. What's in store for the Roger Hodge family over the holidays?
Well, a lot of time on the road, unfortunately, but we'll spend time with back in West Virginia, so all the Concord jokes we can lay aside here for a moment, but we'll go back to West Virginia and spend time with all of our family, and certainly we'll be excited to spend Christmas with my wife and children.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you what, I know that your next most important game is your next game. Obviously, Lewis on Sunday is going to be a tall order. Queen's coming in, a future South Atlantic Conference opponent, and that's going to be a tough one.
Well, we had a battle down there with them last year at their place, and they're an improved basketball team as well, and we'll have to regardless of what happens in the Lewis game, we'll have to be ready for a fight against them as well.
Coach, I want to wish you the best of luck. Obviously, it's going to be a tough order to fill this Sunday, and and nothing cures the tough orders better than the home floor. So hopefully the Lady Railsplitters will defend. Good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. We're running a little bit fast today, but we've got a lot to talk about immediately following the break. Stay with us as we'll come back right after this on the Railsplitter Athletics Report.
Nestled at the foot of the Cumberland Gap, Lincoln Memorial University honors the vision and spirit of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's values are perfectly in sync with the modern educational experience at LMU. Our students find personal attention is a way of life and a way to success. If Lincoln Memorial University fits your vision of college, visit our website at lmunet.edu for more information.
Sigmund Communications is your local radio and television stations bringing your local information, local news, and the best music from yesterday and today. Sigmund Communications was established in 1987 on the campus of Lincoln Memorial University. Since then, we have been involved in community events and other projects. Sigmund Communications is not only your local radio and television stations, but we are a learning facility aimed at educating students in the field of broadcast communications. Sigmund Communications, not just the great building with satellites that sits on the hill.
We're now MediaStream, bringing home to you more and more improvements. As your hometown team, we're dedicated to bringing our friends and neighbors more service upgrades than ever before. Always available 24/7 customer service and technical support. 30-day money-back guarantee on services. Improved bundles that will save you money. Get ready to do more of the things you love with the people you love and with savings you'll love. Call 1-800-392-2662 for details. MediaStream, bringing it home to you.
Bringing it home to you.
Welcome back to the show. Again, we want to remind you an uncommon and uncharacteristic matchup on Sunday for both the LMU men's and women's teams. Normally they don't play on Sunday, but 2 o'clock tip-off for the Lady Railsplitters and the Flyers of Lewis University, 4 o'clock tip for the Railsplitters and the Tornado of King. For the LMU men, it is a must-win situation, in my opinion. I mean, you look at it, King is an undefeated regional opponent, Augusta State an undefeated regional opponent, so LMU needs to come out with a victory over one of the two, preferably both. If they do that, then you got a three-way tie for first again, maybe even more than that, depending on how some of the other region teams have done. But nonetheless, we'd love to have your support this Sunday afternoon as the LMU men's and women's basketball teams play one of two remaining games for each squad before the upcoming Christmas break. Now, folks, next Thursday and the following Thursday before New Year's, we're going to be playing a special episode of the Railsplitter Athletics Report in which we focus on the Lincoln Memorial University Athletics Department's involvement with this year's RoHo shopping spree that took place on Tuesday, December 4th in the Middlesboro Walmart. Each year, the RoHo organization holds a fishing tournament which raises money for the area elementary school needy children. Those children are selected by the principals of all of those area elementary schools as the neediest children in that school. And this year we served approximately 255 children, of which $150 each was spent on each child. $110 for clothes, $40 for toys. It was all tax-free. What was LMU's involvement? Well, members of the LMU Athletics Department, whether they were student athletes or coaches, and members of the SIFE committee and several other committees on campus, as well as the Frank White Academy, went over to serve as RoHo helpers. And they teamed up with maybe a teammate or someone else to take that child around and help them shop for the items that they needed most that were given by the school principals, whether it be shoes or clothes or what have you. It's a great way for the LMU athletic teams to give back to the local community. It's a great way to get into the holiday spirit, and it's for such a good cause. And we'll have a special show next Thursday and the Thursday before New Year's right here on this station. So do stay with us. That's all the time we have for tonight. Good night, everybody.